guided spiritual path.
Jibreel is the first living, breathing creature of Allah. He is the first creature that's ever been given a soul, without any parents. How is he brought into existence? You know, when babies are born, they make all these noises and they figure things out. What about the Malaika? What about Jibreel alayhi salam? When he was brought into existence, what did he say, right? Sa'id ibn Musayyib radiallahu anhu narrates, as the angels are brought into existence, they say, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. There is no power or might except that of God. We have none. So as Jibreel was brought into existence, this first soul, he said, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says, I've been given permission to tell you about just one of those angels. One of the angels who bears the throne of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said, the distance between his earlobe and his shoulder is a journey of 700 years. And the narration of Ibn Khuzaymah, the Prophet ﷺ said, a bird could fly that journey in 700 years. So how do we even determine who's a bigger angel and who's a smaller angel? And what does this have to do with Jibreel alayhi salam? Al-Imam al-Suyuti rahimahullah says, the greater the task the angel has been given, the greater the size of the angel. So that tells you right away that Jibreel alayhi salam is even bigger than that. He's the biggest of the angels and the greatest in size because he has the greatest of tasks. The people of Lut alayhi salam, that entire city was destroyed by the tip of one of Jibreel's wings. They were lifted up and they were destroyed by the tip of one of his wings. So it shows you the strength of Jibreel alayhi salam. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that Jibreel alayhi salam resides directly under the throne of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What does he look like when he's in his full form? The Prophet ﷺ says, رَأَيْتُ Jibreel, I saw Jibreel, وَلَهُ سِتُّ مِئَةِ جَنَاحٍ, and he had 600 wings, not 2 or 3 or 4, 600 wings. Not only that, the Prophet ﷺ said he filled up the entire horizon and he was sitting on a throne that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provided for him. And the Prophet ﷺ said, not only are those 600 wings spread out, he said, يَنْتَشِرُ مِنْ رِيشِهِ التَّهَوِيلُ مِنَ الدُّرِّ وَالْيَاقُوتِ. There are constant rubies and pearls falling from his wings. In a narration in Ahmad, the Prophet ﷺ said, the color of his wings are khadra, are green, and the soles of his feet are green. There's not a single prophet of Allah that you study except that there's a mention of Jibreel. Seriously, just go through Qasas al-Anbiya, the stories of the prophets. You'll find a mention of Jibreel alayhi salam in some way, shape, or form. He's got to be there because he has been sent to 124,000 prophets. In the hadith in Muslim Imam Ahmad, there were 124,000 Anbiya. Amongst them, 315 were messengers, were Rusul. He has been sent to each and every single one of them to teach them, to raise them, to support them, to protect them. He was there. When Adam alayhi salam was expelled from paradise, did Allah communicate directly with Adam anymore? No. Now Jibreel becomes the intermediary between Allah and Adam alayhi salam. When Adam passes away, they didn't know what to do with his body, obviously, because human beings had never experienced death before. Allah sent Jibreel alayhi salam and a group of angels. They washed the body of Adam alayhi salam. They shrouded Adam alayhi salam. They buried Adam alayhi salam. So he's there from the very start, even with Adam alayhi salam. Then comes the very long, one of the longest hadith actually in Sahih al-Bukhari is this hadith where the Prophet ﷺ mentions Hajar running from Safa to Marwa, running around, carrying her baby Ishmael, looking for anyone to help her. She's in an abandoned place. There's no one there, right? And the Prophet ﷺ says, all of a sudden she heard a sound. She said, come forth if you have anything good to offer. So the Prophet ﷺ says, فَإِذَا Jibreel. Suddenly it was Jibreel. Then the Prophet ﷺ said, Jibreel did this. He struck the ground with his heel. When Jibreel did that, the water obviously started coming from the earth in huge loads. Zamzam comes bursting out of the ground. And the Prophet ﷺ said, Rahim Allah Ismail. May Allah have mercy on the mother of Ismail. What she did was she carved out the well because she was afraid that the water would go all over the place and nothing would be left. And the Prophet ﷺ said, had she not done that, then the entire earth would have been touched by Zamzam. Now, subhanAllah, think about the miracle of Zamzam, right? You know how big it is in dimensions? 8 by 3. And in an official research that was done on Zamzam, it pumps 8,000 liters per second. That means 691 million liters per day, Zamzam. Think about how many millions of gallons, subhanAllah, people are constantly drinking from it. It has never dried up. That's just from the strike of Jibreel's foot, okay? You're still drinking from it till now. So that's your connection to Jibreel alayhi salam until today, subhanAllah. When Ibrahim and Ismail finished building the Kaaba, and Ibrahim said, Arina manasikana. Oh Allah, show us the rituals. The Prophet ﷺ said, Allah sent Jibreel alayhi salam, and Jibreel alayhi salam did the Hajj with Ibrahim.
To be continued. Stay tuned for next part.